What's up, sports fans? Welcome to V Sports Nation. This time we're going to talk about a potential fight between Shakur Stevenson and Vasyl Lomachenko for 2021, so stay tuned. So Shakur Stevenson and Vasyl Lomachenko might be on a collision course for 2021. As we all know, Shakur Stevenson, a great fighter, former WBO featherweight champion of the world, he's scheduled to fight Toka Khan on December 12th, which is not a great fight. It's more of a COVID stay busy fight still, since Toka Khan is rated 85th in the world, so not a great opponent. But Shakur Stevenson is really taking a stay busy fight, waiting for the mandatory position to resolve, or should I say mandatory positions to resolve themselves, because he's rated number 2 by the WBC, rated number 1 by the WBO. The WBC champion is Miguel Berchelt, who was scheduled to fight Oscar Valdez, but that fell through because Berchelt was positive for COVID. So Shakur, he offered to step in to fight Oscar Valdez, because we all remember Oscar Valdez. He was also WBO featherweight champ before Shakur Stevenson, and when Shakur became mandatory, Oscar Valdez moved up, and now he declined to fight Shakur Stevenson for the second time. It's not a good look, and it's not a good telling of a fighter's confidence when he continuously avoids to fight a guy that presents stylistic challenge, a big stylistic challenge for Oscar Valdez. So Shakur was stuck in a limbo because of that, and he's just taking a stay busy fight. And on the other hand, we have the WBO super featherweight situation where Jamel Herring is the champion, but he is trying to get a fight with Cobb Frampton, so that fight hasn't come to fruition yet. So Shakur is basically waiting on two fronts right now, the WBC path and the WBO path. And as far as the other belts, the IBF champ is Jojo Diaz, and the WBA situation is a mess, really. Santa Cruz against Gervonta Tank Davis was labeled for the WBA Super Championship, but it's not according to the WBA rules. You know, Leo Santa Cruz was actually a fabricated WBA Super Champ. There are a specific set of rules that can lead to an establishment of the WBA Super Championship, and that path and lineage leads to Rene Alvarado, who holds the WBA regular belt, but in reality that's the original super belt that got changed to a regular belt through corruption, really illegally. It was a super belt owned by Jazriel Corrales. When he lost to Alberto Machado, he received the regular belt instead of a super belt. And then he was beaten by Andrew Cancio. Andrew Cancio was beaten by Rene Alvarado. So it's actually Rene Alvarado that traces his WBA lineage to the original super champ, Takashi Uchiyama, who was the super featherweight king. He became the champion in 2010. Then he was the champion for 5 years, made 10 title defenses, and then he was elevated to super championship. So the super belt of Gervonta Tank Davis is not a real super belt, so a lot of people consider him a fake champion, a fabricated champion. So that's a little mess within the WBA that we're gonna assess next time. Anyway, Shakur, he had a successful reign, short reign but successful reign at featherweight. He moved up the same way Lomachenko has done before. Of course, we all know Lomachenko just lost to Teofimo Lopez in a fight where everybody really expected him to win, but it really showed that Lopez is better than everybody else thought he was, rather than Lomachenko not being good enough. I mean, he was the smaller guy, he tried his best, you know, he was down. I had him down in the first half of the fight, and then he came back like a true champ. He started beating Lopez up, but you know, Lopez, being the fighter that he is, he showed up in the last round, and I had it 7-5 Lopez, well-deserved victory. I could have seen it a draw maybe, but I also could have seen 8 rounds to 4 Lopez. So Teofimo, well-deserved victory, well-deserved pound-for-pound status. Lomachenko, of course, still a pound for pound star, still one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, but it may be time for him to move down where people are more like his size. Even at super featherweight, he's not going to be among the bigger guys, really. He's really a featherweight, but it just shows how good he was to move up 2 weight classes and still be able to dominate a lot of people. So this would be a great fight. Both fighters are pound for pound caliber. We have a veteran, former pound for pound #1 against a young lion, a guy who has a goal of becoming pound for pound #1. So it's going to be youth versus experience, skill against skill, and it's going to be a great fight. And we'll see if it actually comes to fruition. Obviously, it's expected to see Shakur Stevenson fight for either WBC or the WBA belt in the near future. And if Vasyl Lomachenko moves down, he's definitely gonna have a path to one of the championship belts, possibly the WBA, maybe IBF, but I would say the WBA. He's got a pretty good relationship with the WBA. Also, he might go after Tank Davis's belt, and I don't really believe that Tank Davis is gonna fight Lomachenko ever unless he's in a wheelchair, like Lom said like last year, I believe. So it's a great potential fight, pound for pound level fight that can be made in 2021. Shakur Stevenson against Vasyl Lomachenko. Tell us what you think, who you believe could win that fight. And with that, we're out. Catch you later.